that they'll need to plan for it and plan accordingly. How early into this fight would you be able to tell if he's done his homework on your movement and, you know, possibly make you adjust?
I don't know. Only time will tell. That type of question I can't really answer until we actually get inside. But like I said before, if there needs to be a plan B or a plan C, I think we have all of that. We have the necessary tools to use. Obviously, my biggest advantage is my size and my reach and my range, my athleticism. So we're going to use that to the best of our ability. But if we need to go to a plan B, I think you know, we're more than equipped, more than ready to input anything we need to win.
You know, Canelo, of course, is the face of boxing, and with that, he becomes a favorite of entering this fight. A lot of boxing heads feel that maybe it should be different, that you should enter this fight as a favorite. What's your thoughts on that?
I just think it's mostly because of his popularity. Obviously, like you said, he's the face of boxing, so he's one of the face of boxing, and it's like naturally, you know, people who truly even don't really know the sport of boxing is going to favor Canelo because they love Canelo, and I understand it. So going into this fight, I already knew I was going to be the underdog. But I think that real boxing heads, you know, people who really truly follow the sport passionately and understand that styles make fights and understand that because you have a bigger name doesn't necessarily make you the winner prior to going into that fight and proving yourself. So that's really just my thing, you know, going in there and just prove the general public wrong. But that's ultimately just to do my job. So I want to be able to give these fans a good show.
You know, throughout your preparation for this fight, Canelo, especially with his counterpunching, how much has that impressed you, you know, in preparing for this fight? His ability to counterpunch?
It hasn't impressed me in the terms of where I need to change my whole game plan, but I've always followed Canelo for his career, and I've seen the improvements throughout his career, so that has impressed me. But as far as against me, I just look at it totally different because he's always been a lighter guy. He's always been able to do damage on guys that was his height or smaller than him, excluding his last opponent. But my thing is, you can't really gauge his past opponents the same way you can gauge me because we're all different boxers, we're all different fighters, and we present something totally different. Like I said, I've always said, I present something that Canelo would never face inside that ring coming for.
You know, just a month ago you said that you can't leave this in the judges' hands. That hasn't changed, right? I mean, we're looking at this like you have to win definitively, and that's the only way, right?
Absolutely, and that doesn't necessarily mean, even though I feel like I can get the knockout, that doesn't necessarily mean my game plan is to go in there and try to knock him out. I mean, I'm going to try to win and win decisively so that there's no controversy, so that there's no, well, it could have went this way or it could have been a draw. I don't want to leave it to where there's any doubt that I was victorious.
You know, boxing heads aside, you mentioned proving the public wrong.
Yeah.
And how much of that would be just Daniel Jacobs bullying Canelo on May 4th?
Well, I don't necessarily think Canelo can bully me. I mean, I think that it's going to be really hard for him, being the smaller guy, to kind of dictate that. I'm a rough guy when it comes to being inside that ring with me. You might see, you know, me from the outside, it might look different, but when you're actually in there, I'm a physically big guy with speed and power. So it's more so about the game plan I choose to use to be victorious. And with my last fight with Sergey Derevyanchenko, I could have pushed Sergey back, but it just would have been a battle of guys trying to push each other back. So I wanted to use a different plan to try to get the victory, because obviously me having experience with that guy, I knew the type of fight that he was going to bring. And I knew that to make it an easier fight for me is not really to try to go in there and impose my size and try to back him down. And I just wanted to make sure that we show a different side too. And we was able to see a lot of slipping, a lot of countering, different things that you probably haven't seen from me in a long time.
You know, De La Hoya said that a test for Canelo is going to be when he hits you and you're still standing right in front of his face. what about the flip side? When you hit him with everything you got and he's right there, have you thought about that?
I haven't thought about really any of that. I mean, all I really see in the vision is just my hand being raised at the end of the day. So I envision knockouts, I envision decisions, all of the positive things, but as far as controversy or as far as negative, as far as him not being able to, or him being able to take my punches or him being able to push me back, I haven't really